uh, who don't know English, but she speaks French, and her family's Haitian, and she say even the Haitians know that America caused that earthquake in Haiti. The Haitians know this. And that they were using explosives underwater that caused this earthquake. And all the Haitians know who did it. But yet it's not being publicized. What happened right after the earthquake? The ships were all ready to come in and clean up and do what they needed to do to set their new world order over in Haiti to take the country and put in the people they wanted. Then they tried to hush Wycliffe. They tried to hush him and his foundation. Why? Because they wanted to set up their own fake foundations to rape the country dry with their so-called philanthropy. And Red Cross would come through and have you send millions and millions of dollars to Haiti, billions of dollars to Haiti, and not a dime went to the people. Then we had another brother that went over into Haiti, come to find out that the UN, a Japanese faction of the UN, have set base over in Haiti. But I'm going to tell you, the French tried to beat Haiti before. And that's why they left them alone and say, we'll just starve them out. You just can't beat the Haitians because they're playing, even though they're dealing on the satanic side, they're fighting on a high level on the satanic side. So a lot of the diplomats and high people like the Clintons and the Bushes, they go over to Haiti for spiritual warfare against their enemies in other places. So, you know, I'm not bragging about what the Haitians do, but whatever they're doing it very well. So you'll think twice because you keep messing with these people. Hey, you may drive them to their God, and you're really in trouble. All right, so they're systematically breaking these people down, and they still survive. I mean, the Haitians, they'll go make themselves dirt cakes just to live. So it's not like the Haitians don't know what the world governments are doing. So the question is, why are the world governments doing this? That's the big question. Why do they pose as philanthropists or those that would help others when really their mission is to depopulate and kill and destroy? Why? That's a question that most people can't fathom. And the answer to that question is, it's their religion. What they're doing systematically is the religion of the powers of this earth. That's why I'm going into a lesson now called The Return of the Beast. The return of the beast is to let you know that Babylon, which is America, the daughter of Babylon rather, the daughter of Babylon is a prop that they built to tear down to give power back to Europe. So what we're living in and experiencing right now is the implosion of Babylon. That's what we're seeing now. Now, they can't outright tell you that it's their mission and their religion to kill and to destroy you. There's too many people. If they were to tell you what they were doing, the people would join together, all together in America, and fight against the governments, and it's more you than them. So what they do, they set up theaters. They set up theaters and have you buy into your own death. Okay? Like the example I just heard about some guy going into a movie theater and shooting some people up on the grand opening of The Dark Knight. That was all set up from the beginning. That was government, that was military. They went in there and shot the guy, and they always have some drugged up lackey to take the fall. It's the same program over and over again. And you can go all the way back. This is how they do it. We can go back to the time of Martin Luther King. The guy before he died said, listen, man, I didn't shoot that guy. It's always a lone gunner. But the lone gunner is used as a pretext for a bigger plan. So they're going to start blowing up and doing more things, blaming it on their targets. Like an example I can give you before I go into the lesson is now, and I see on some of these blogs around, they're using this so-called black Hebrew Israelite who wasn't even in the truth 5 minutes, that learned under Great Millstone in North Carolina. They're using him as an example. The Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a proxy for the Zionists. Neither are they Southern, neither do they deal with poverty. They're used by the government publications to write papers and influence law enforcement against so-called future terrorists. So they used this one guy who killed a young black kid. He actually killed this kid because he felt the kid was gay.
Suspected cult leader Peter Moses Jr. arraigned on new murder charges after the body of a 5-year-old boy is found in a Durham backyard. Good afternoon from the Raleigh Eyewitness News Center. I'm John Clark.
And I'm Amber Repentant. Barbara Gibbs has the day off. The remains of Jaden Higginbotham were discovered yesterday in the same backyard where just a day earlier the body of a woman was also found. Authorities say both bodies are linked to the Black Hebrews cult. The suspected ringleader in court this morning to face the new charges.
Feloniously did of malice and afterthought kill and murder Jaden Higginbotham.
For the second time this week, Peter Moses, the alleged ringleader of a polygamous group, faces a judge on murder charges.
He will be held at this point without bond until the state makes a decision as to whether they're going to proceed with this case capitally.
Durham's district attorney has yet to announce whether Moses and 6 other murder suspects will face the possibility of the death penalty. Eyewitness News cameras were there as detectives shielded what are the remains of 5-year-old Jaden Higginbotham. The break in the case investigators have long waited for. Moses, along with his mother, brother, sister, and 3 other women, including Higginbotham's mother, are charged in connection with the murder of Antoinetta McCoy. Her body also uncovered at this Ash Street house linked to the group. It's devastating news for Jaden's father.
I went from anger to sadness to happiness back to sadness. I have a lot of mixed emotions, so I can't really even tell you which emotions that I'm experiencing right now because it's all of them.
Now, we don't condone what the guy did by no stretch of the imagination, but look at how they're using this, their theater. They're claiming the anti-gay teachings of Israelites spawned this man to kill a 4-year-old child and his wife. What are they doing? They're demonizing those who are waking up knowing that they're Israel now, and tying it to a guy who was well known to be on psychotropics. And with these psychotropics that you're under, you can be coerced into doing things. And usually when this happens, either the guy get killed or you hear the guy pled guilty and the case gets swept under the rug. Immediately, they have a quick trial and the story goes away, and now here come the narrative to go against the people they're demonizing. Like for instance, and I'm going to show you how a lot of you can fight against this. I mean, you can bring this to the forefront. Just because a person is following a certain religion or background doesn't mean his actions reflect what he believed. There was a Jewish guy last year who chopped up a young boy and threw him in a dumpster.
A sad discovery in a dumpster in Brooklyn, New York. Police say they have found remains believed to be those of a little boy who disappeared Monday. Investigators say some of 8-year-old Libby Kletsky's remains were also found in a refrigerator Wednesday. That refrigerator is inside the home of a man now in police custody. The 31-year-old is still being interviewed and has not been arrested. The boy was last seen walking home from a day camp in Brooklyn's Borough Park neighborhood. Police say he was spotted on surveillance video. The man currently in police custody was seen walking near him. Hundreds of people turned out to help look for the boy, searching over 5 square miles. The Hasidic boy was supposed to meet his mother after camp, but never showed up. Ed Donahue, The Associated Press.
You don't see us here blaming all Jewish people and saying it's because of their religion. This one guy did this, even though I think it was a satanic ritual that Jewish people do. But you don't see the publications or Southern Poverty Law Center saying, well, watch out for all Jewish people because this Jewish guy just raped and killed a little boy and chopped him up. You don't see that in your publications. When a Christian does something wrong, you don't see them saying, well, he did that because he believed in Christianity. So I'm putting this out there to show you they're going to demonize anyone who bring forth truth, and they're targeting Israelites big time. Because why? That's who we are. Christ was an Israelite. Paul was an Israelite. Peter was an Israelite. And they were all martyred by the Roman government. They were martyred by the Roman government, and nothing have changed. And that leads us to our lesson, the return of the beast. It never changed. The beast just hid itself, so you could not recognize or fight against it. Let's get that in Revelations, where it talks about the beast that was but is not, but yet is. Let's get that in Revelations real quick. It hides itself. Okay, so we're going right into the beast that was but yet is not, but yet is. See, the biggest mystery, and see, this is how Satan operates in this earth. And I think they have dropped that in a lot of movies, like the Devil's Advocate, which is, there was a statement, is the greatest trick Satan have ever played on humanity is to have the world believe he didn't exist. So that's the same line you can examine by looking at the Bible and saying, well, who's Babylon? Who's this big empire that would rule at the end of the earth? It exists, but no one can put their finger on who is it. Because, of course, if the world knew, especially if the Christian church knew, they would fight against it. So the church was infiltrated by Constantine in the 4th century. He hijacked the Bible and put in a Babylonian, he didn't put it in the Bible, he taught in doctrine a Babylonian religion that would program and twist the minds of people. You'll read the characters of the Bible, but in fact, you would believe in the ancient Babylonian ritual. And what was Babylon about? Witchcraft, sorcery, illusion. So that's the only way these guys can operate, is in the dark. They can only operate if they're not seen. Therefore, they control the earth through secret societies. Okay? Now, if you're doing something right, you don't need to be in secret. So obviously these secret societies, and of course the Masons or the low Masons you see in your neighborhoods, they're just the foot soldiers. They're just the infantry. But they're not the brain trust of this. People talk about Jay-Z and all that. I know these guys are sitting on their high heels somewhere in other countries laughing when you point to Jay-Z as a Mason. Jay-Z is nothing but a lapdog. He's nothing but a small guy on a totem pole, a diversion. So you can't see them. This thing is way bigger than some Jay-Z and Beyonce selling their souls to the devil. They're just distractions. We don't even look at none of that little stuff. You need to look directly at the beast. Who are they? What are they? What is their idea? What do they believe? What is their religion? All right? Now, I know this for sure. Whomever is behind this so-called New World Order, and I can name some names, but I'm just going to put it out, just throw it out there, whomever. Whomever is behind that, we know Satan is at the pinnacle, they all see an eye, but whoever is playing in this war that's out there, we know that their peace is death. Because they went over to Iraq to give peace. That's what they told us. But over 1 million Iraqis are dead. So whatever they believe, I know for sure when they say peace, millions die. Okay? Now what's going on? They just shot up a theater blockbuster movie that was promoted, $150 million to me. Shot it all up. Why? They don't care about those 12 people. They just killed 1 million in Iraq. You think they care about 12 people? You think they care about 70 people? No. They shot it up for the narrative of now so that Barack Obama can grandstand in an election year to grab all your guns. Now you're a helpless, defenseless cattle waiting for the slaughter. That's the whole point. They set up the narratives. They understand what they're fighting against, just like generals do. They do reconnaissance. They find out what the people are thinking. They're like, okay, everyone is going to be dealing with this movie. Let's do it right here. It's stages. Because why? Americans, well, they're armed. So you can't take them down by just sending in an army. Because there's more people in America with guns than an army you can send in. But they have the UN armies in pockets all over the United States. And when they get to a certain number of guns confiscated, then when they see the UN guns are more than the American guns, then it's time. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you an understanding psychologically on what's going on with this war on every level, if it be the will of the Most High. But you cannot do this if you don't understand the Bible and know who you're fighting against, who we must pray against. Because yes, we should pray against these powers. Prayer works. You notice how in your churches they program you to pray for your president, pray for your government. They understand the strength that goes in prayer. You understand? But a lot of us, we pray for our governments, don't understand that we're praying to the pits of hell. All right? So let's go into this. The beast, or the return of the beast. In order to understand this, let's go to the Tower of Babel. Genesis, the 11th chapter. Before you get that, real quick, I need you to go to Revelations 18. Read that.
Revelations chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen.
Now what is that showing you when it says Babylon the Great is fallen, it's fallen? See, most of you out there are just waiting for one event to go down, or just one thing to happen. Babylon ain't just going to just pancake. That's why the Bible say it's fallen. It's slow progression. So just because you still have the mirage of life doesn't mean that Babylon is not falling. People will walk around and say, well, I can still go to a club. I can still see a football game. I can still go to church. Everything is just fine. Oh, it is. But every week, something changes. It's falling. Because a year ago, you didn't have drones running around, flying around. 2 years ago, there was no such thing as earthquakes on the East Coast. Okay? So, this sorcery that Satan is playing on people is to have you deal in a fallen empire and believe it's still thriving. That's the satanic psychology. Okay? As long as you have any similitude of what you believe is normal, everything is fine. Until it's snatched all at once. The Bible says Babylon the Great is fallen. It's fallen. Now, some people say, well, this is talking about religion. Hey, I don't see religion falling. I see religion all over the earth. It's still here. I don't see the Catholic Church falling. They got the same power they had since the beginning. So it's not talking about some religion falling someplace. It's talking about an empire that had hid itself. And I'm going to prove to you beyond any shadow of a doubt that empire is the empire we call America, and that it's being imploded on purpose so that power can go back to the original people who built it. We're just props. This is how they look at us. We're just props in their theater. Okay? And if you follow their program, if you haven't been baptized out of it to see things for what it is and led by the Holy Spirit to see it for what it is, you are a total prop in their game. They can program you and move you along just anywhere on the board they want, just like a chess master. If you are asleep. And of course, we wouldn't put these things out there and then and not tell you what we need to do based on this. But the first point is having the knowledge that it exists. One of the greatest deceptions in Christianity is they teach you to live in denial and believe you have the truth. Everything you say to a Christian that matters, they say, well, it doesn't matter. Everything. All I know is I believe in Jesus. Okay, they're coming to kill you. That don't matter. I'm washed in the blood of Jesus. Do you know that Christ was a black man? Oh, that doesn't matter. Do you know that your people are the children of Israel written up in that same Bible you teaching in church? Well, that doesn't matter because God loves everybody. Do you know that your people one day will stand in power to give truth to the whole world and bring them to the enlightened power of the Most High God? Well, that doesn't matter. Do you know FEMA is coming to you? You know they're going to disarm you and throw you in concentration camps. That doesn't matter because I'll be raptured. You see where we're going here? I can go on and on and on. Who want to be a part of a religion where nothing matters? And when Christ was on the earth, he spoke directly to the money changers. He told them, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. You were a murderer from the beginning. He spoke directly to government. And everyone that followed his pattern gets what? Crucified. You're a terrorist. Let's go to the Tower of Babel. Genesis 11:1.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there.
The land of Shinar is modern day Iraq. Okay, that's Babylon. All right? That's the old Babylon. The Bible calls America the daughter of Babylon. Read.
Verse 3. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower.
Let us build us a city and a tower. Now notice that in order for them to accomplish this power, they all had to be under one speech, one language. That's what the internet have done, brothers and sisters. It have brought all languages and speeches together where we can all communicate, even though there's a language divide. If you don't believe me, pull up Google Translate. You can talk all day to somebody in another language. So this construct, this technology they have given us, have allowed the earth to come together like it once was before the tongues were split during the time of Babel. Read.
Verse 4. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven.
Whose top may reach unto heaven. Read.
And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the earth, of the whole earth.
Go ahead.
Verse 5. And the Most High came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Most High Ahiah said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language.
They all have one language. Read.
And this they begin to do, And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do.
So if we don't stop them from doing this, so that tells you their plan was evil. He says if we don't stop them, everything they imagine to do will be completed. So they was working under Satan, building a tower into the heavens. And when you link this to the book of Jasher, they had certain technology to fight out in space. So this tower wasn't just a building being built. Okay? It would be something like the extension of your Pentagon today. You make these buildings and you have all this technology with these buildings to go out in space like NASA. This is what they were doing. Having these certain spacecrafts and all these things. It wasn't just a building. The technology you see today is based on the archaeology they have found from ancient times. What do you think they're in these excavations for all in the Middle East? To get the old technology. To get the old technology. That's what they're doing. To build the tower again. Now this links us to the UN because it's no coincidence that the whole UN, the EU building over in Europe have been constructed from an old painting of an incomplete Tower of Babylon. The EU tower. So they're telling you, they coming straight to your face saying, listen, this is who we are. Their government, their political structure is a part of their religion. You understand? This is all part of their religion. They are Satanists. You believe in Christ. They believe in Satan. They believe in Lucifer. Okay? Finish reading.
Verse 7. Go to, let us go down and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Most High Ahiah scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth. And they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel.
The name of it is called Babel. Links to the word confusion. The Most High confused the tongues. Now, what happened when all these ethnicities could not communicate? Therefore, if you can't communicate, you cannot finish constructing this plan that you've imagined to go out to fight against the Most High with. You can't complete this project. So what they did when they left off from the project, they took the same religion from this particular city back to their respective lands. So that one day Satan could tie them all together again and say, well, listen, I know you believe in this. I know you believe in that. I know you believe in that in different areas, but I'm still the God of all of you. And he showed the similarities in these religions to one day have a one world religion the earth is about to go into today. Okay? This is not a new age religion. It was the religion from ancient Babylon. So now Satan is now going to tie all these religions together and show the similarities of them all so that he can bring forth his one world religion he had during the time of Babel. Now, there's a book called The Two Babylons. When you get an opportunity, if you get an opportunity, find that PDF. This Two Babylons draws a parallel between Rome, America, the religions, and ancient Babylon. Because Babylon wasn't just the building of a temple. Every Sunday was the only day that the builders would have off from building the tower so that they could worship the sun. S-U-N. That was the beginning of Sunday worship. Way back then. I'm in Genesis 11th chapter. Now, before this, all nations had their own bounds according to their family line. They had a lot of land given to them based on their family heritage. Shem had his area, Ham had his area in North Africa, and Japheth had their area over there in Europe and China and all those areas. So there was no need to bring these people together. They had their own thing under there was only one religion at this time, and that was, before that, what Noah showed them, which was the God of all gods. But actually Satan came in, linked up with Nimrod, and now you bring in all these ethnicities into one place. Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? The city that's built out of all nations, kindreds, and tongues? With the Lady Babylon, the Statue of Liberty holding the torch? Sounds familiar? Listen to this clearly. You have your Babylonian religion, Sunday worship, and what else did they learn with this blueprint? I'm talking about your beast governments today. They learned that if you have all people in a concentrated area, they're easier to control. Because you can program them outside of their culture. You create their reality with these cities. So what they did? They say we got to build these cities all around the earth. And make the world believe, make you believe, because you see all these people walking around, that the earth is overpopulated. When really there's enough land for you and everyone that have ever died in this earth. Right now. So in these cities, they can program you into an alternative reality. Okay? Now, moving this up to Rome, I'll get there in a moment. Rome understood that you can control the people through the Marb. The Marb was your Colosseum that was built with enough seats where the whole city could come and see sports or gladiator fighting. In between the fights, the governments have a guy stand on the Marb and preach and bring forth the agenda of government to program the people and distract them with games. So what do? In every great city all around the world, you have your Colosseums and your sports to keep you distracted while being programmed for your own destruction. I mean, this is meticulous at the highest level. But what does this have to do with the Bible? I'm going to show you. While you're getting caught up with all these distractions, these guys at the top under Satan is right on it every second, completing their mission under Satan, knowing that they have a short time. This is their religion, folks. People that are hiding at the Pentagon, they're Satanists, all of them. They have a mission. Now, the tough part about this is that they have a greater influence on us and society than those that believe have on them. Okay? We have no influence over them. They got the power. They have the money. They have the influence. So let's go into it. The return of the beast. Let's go to Revelations 17. When we speak of beast, Christians are taught that the beast is some man that's going to pop up at the very end called the Antichrist. When the beast in Scripture speaks definitively of governments and powers. It speaks of governments. Let's go to Daniel, the 7th chapter. Let's hit that real quick.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and the 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Verse 4. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings.
Lion with eagle wings represents Babylon, the Babylonian Assyrian Empire. That's not a man. That's a beast that Daniel seen that would become an empire. Now, the significance of these 4 beasts is these are the empires the children of Israel must be under for a time before the promises of Abraham is bestowed upon them. So the children of Israel is waiting for all these beasts to be destroyed so that they can actually receive their kingdom. That's the point of Christ. So in order for these empires to thrive in this earth, they must make the children of Israel believe there's someone else. You don't exist. Israel doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. You're nobody. Go back to work. It's straight programming. These beasts cannot fulfill or do their will against us if we have knowledge of who we are. The beast is no one man that's going to pop up someplace. Okay? Read.
The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings.
That's the Babylonian Assyrian Empire. Go ahead.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man.
And that was the king Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead.
And a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast.
Here's a second beast that ruled over the children of Israel. Read.
A second like to a bear.
Go ahead.
And it raised up itself on one side.
It raised up itself on one side because a bear, when it stands up, it have 2 legs. That's the Persian Medo Empire.
And
modern day Iranians. Read.
And it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it.
Okay, those were the empires that preceded it. Go ahead.
And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh.
And they went through destroying all empires under Xerxes. You see that in the movie 300. Go ahead.
Verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard.
Like a leopard. Alexander the Greek that wore leopard skin. The known homosexual. Go ahead.
Which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl.
Why? Because his empire was split in four pieces under his 4 generals, which eventually took parts of Egypt and different areas of Asia. And now you got the European conquest taking the Asians out of their areas, placing Europeans in after Alexander the Greek. 333 BC we're talking about here. Go ahead.
The beast had also 4 heads.
It had 4 heads. Those were the 4 generals. Now, if you went against the generals back then at that time under Alexander the Greek, you were killed. You were called terrorists. Sound familiar? But these beasts were set up to destroy the children of Israel. Read.
Verse 7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast.
A 4th beast, go ahead.
Dreadful and terrible.
Dreadful and terrible. This beast is worse than all of them. Read.
And strong exceedingly.
Go ahead.
And it had great iron teeth.
Iron teeth. It's weaponry. Read.
It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it.
And it stamped the residue in the feet of it. That means anything in its wake it would destroy. You know who that is? The Roman Empire. The Great Republic. Now, what made the Republic of Rome greater than the other beasts? Rome learned from the prior beasts and realized in order to expand, you must use psychology and absorb the other nations and make them part of you. Okay? The other empires stayed pat under their kingdom. Rome said, no, we will expand. We will expand until we take the whole earth, and we will convert the earth into our ideology. And we'll live by the sword. We'll use the sword to do it. We'll kill off all those who have the knowledge of who we are and teach and re-educate their children to follow and love the great whore. See that? Sounds familiar, right? You wasn't supposed to know this. Okay? You were brought over in shackles to work and build the construct. But they're the Masons. And some people ask, well, why would they want to implode or destroy their own construct? Why? They built it under Satan. And once they use it for what they need it for, it's expendable. When they came over to the Americas, they didn't have no long-term plans to stay there. They went there to enslave us, to set up their empire and make a scapegoat to be destroyed so that they can have power in Rome once again. This is biblical, brothers and sisters. So when you see somebody come through and shoot up a movie or do something, and then it's conveniently a convenient press conference is made up with this theater of your police and mayors standing up that we have to do something, and your president looking presidential. Listen, all these things are leading to the implosion so that Rome can have power again. And America will get the blame. It's all scriptural. And listen to this. Here's the key piece of this. Piece that I want to bring here. It's all Bible prophecy. It must happen. The great thing about this is we're way past these four beasts. And we're only dealing now with the little horn that came out of her. That's America. That's all the empires that preceded Rome, all together, wrapped up into one. If you don't believe me, go to your art museums. Why do your federal buildings have Roman architect? When you go to church every Sunday, why are you following an ancient Babylonian religion of a virgin child with the Madonna mother? That's Babylon. Think about it. Why is the all-seeing eye on your dollar bill? Think about it. How is it that the same way Rome would take down an empire and absorb that empire, then set up schools and churches to teach you teach you the psychology to love those that destroyed you? Where did they get that blueprint? It's all the beast wrapped up in one. It's the little horn. But the little horn had to mask herself to make you believe that she didn't exist, or it's somebody else from the past. The only way she can operate is to stay hidden. Listen to this clearly. Read. Let's go down to the little horn that came out of her. No, let's go to the 10. The 10 horns. I mean, the 10 fractions of her.
Verse 7.
That's what I want. Read.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
And it had 10 horns. This is what makes Rome different than the others. They kept one base, but no. Rome started setting up bases in other areas to expand herself. Sound familiar? Who were the 10 horns? Let's read the 10 horns. All Europe. Name them for me if you don't mind.
Luxembourg.
1.
Denmark.
2.
Belgium.
3.
Netherlands.
4.
Germany.
5.
Sweden.
6.
France.
7.
Spain.
8.
Great Britain.
9.
Switzerland.
10. Those were the original 10. All right? So these were empires before there was any such thing as a place called America. So the ideology of this new land that would come, Rome rebuilt, would come from the mindset of these 10 horns. So America is, let me tell you, it's old ideology. And the only way they could hide this is through lies on history. So when they set up this construct, they realize, okay, we must reshape history so that these people who are building this construct will never know that they were the people who did all the building from past empires. Hence, the poor. Now that the poor are realizing now through the spirit and power of the Most High that they are the children of Israel, now they are expendable. And there's no need for them now. It's time to depopulate now. So, you have your guy, Bill Gates, who love you, coming to a country near you to shoot your child, to shoot your children up with hepatitis B to break down their immune system. And then say, well, they died from AIDS. Coming to a country near you. All right? Now there's more. Let's go. Stay where you are.
Verse 8.
Go ahead.
I considered the horns, and behold.
So Daniel in his vision considered the horns. Now don't tell me the Bible is not true, because Daniel is seeing this vision almost a half a century before Christ came on the scene. All right? And now, since you so-called skeptics out there can see clearly that the Bible prophecy is being fulfilled, y'all have a new line now. The new line is, oh, well, the people that are controlling things wrote the Bible and just playing out the narrative. Well, how can the people that wrote this be playing out the narrative? Wouldn't they be dead by now? So even if you look at it from your mindset, there's an ideology from old time that must be passed down, correct? All right? So if that ideology is being passed down from ancient times, it has some validity, right? They'll give credit to a ghost before they realize and recognize the truth of the Bible. There's more on that. Finish reading real quick.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn.
Another little horn. Now this little horn had nothing to do with the beast that preceded it. It's something new. Read.
Before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up.
So this letting us know that this new empire, this new horn, would come out of the 3 of the 10. And you think it's a coincidence that America is made out of who? France, Great Britain, and Spain. Oh, that's a coincidence for you. 3 plucked up out of the 10. So now we've identified the little horn. Right? That's crystal clear in identifying that America is in the Bible, but it's not under the word America. It's in prophecy as the little horn from Rome. She would mimic herself after Rome. See that? So it is in the Bible. But your preachers and your churches can't teach this. Why? If they taught this, then they would, by default, they would be in churches praying on the Sabbath against the empire that set them up. They would be forced to pray against their own government if they knew this. Now examine that for a second. But now, what we're going into now is the resurgence of the beast. The return of the beast. I want you to really, I'm going into Revelations now. Follow me carefully. Get your pen and paper, follow this, what we're about to show you here. Let's go to Revelation 17. I need the one where it talks about the beast that was and is, but is not. Let's go there.
Revelations chapter 17, verse 6.
Another thing I wanted to say here. And I know thinking common sense like this may get you put out of some institutions like churches. If the Romans were responsible for martyring the disciples and the followers of Christ and destroying Jerusalem in 70 AD, the children of Israel, our people who were there, and killing Christ with a Roman crucifix, how can they now in our modern time be the authority to bring you Christianity? You ever think about that? These people wanted Christ. They killed Christ. But yet you'll receive Christ's murder. It's like somebody taking a gun and shooting your brother in the head and then come to your house the next day and say, listen, I love you and we should all live together and I want to uphold your brother as a great man. Now get up under my foot as I crush you. See, this is what they do. They killed Christ. So if they can program you into believing in the people who killed your Lord and Savior, they already have you. You've already been psychologically put in a place for total destruction. Just examine that. Do you know if you speak to modern day Christians today and ask them, well, who killed Christ? They can't even tell you who killed him. They're taught to separate politics from religion, when all this was political. All this is political. When I'm speaking of Babylon, Rome, Greece, I'm speaking of empires. If I was speaking what I'm saying right now to those empires, they would string you up back then. Okay? So government have always been against God. These are satanic governments. Now you're wrong for pointing it out according to them because they can only work in the dark. They must be received as your loving saviors. But the Bible tells us that they would work in the dark. All right, let's show you that. Go, where you at? Revelation 17, right?
Verse 6.
Before you go there, let's take it from the top. Revelation 17 and 1.
Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore.
So the great whore that what?
That sitteth upon many waters.
That sitteth upon many waters. Now here's my question for those who think that it's talking about ancient Rome. Do Rome have a base all over the earth? A military base? Who's sitting on everyone's base? On everyone's areas? Who's sitting there? And I'm going to show you the meticulous psychology of these that control this world under Satan. And I thought of this, and you know what? I was perplexed. Just looking in one area of the earth. What's the difference between North Koreans and South Koreans? They're the same people. They were able to get in one country and divide it and make the same people enemies against each other. Till this day. Man, what programming? I sat and thought about how do you do this? To the point where you can go into a country, a unified country of one people, and divide it and make those same people, same families, hate each other. And have guns at a wall at variance against each other. And they're only one line away from just killing each other. Who can do this? What programming? Serious, the same guys staring each other down at a wall. And check out this divide. This is the crazy thing about this divide in Korea. The divide in Korea is in a building. They both enter the building from different sides and just look at each other. And they never thought to say, you know what? You my brother, man. You my brother. I don't have no beef with you. Let's join together. Because there's a bigger enemy, the enemy who divided us. You can't even think of anything like that. You think it's far-fetched to believe that you can join with your brother. And they do this on every level. You look in the hood, Bloods, Crips. This divide and conquer thing happens on every level, and they are masters of this. To have everyone fighting against them, but be unified in the belief of a satanic government. Finish reading.
Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication.
That means all the earth have bought into their religion. You see, and now they're paying. Look at them now taking down parts of the Middle East. They're about to destroy Syria. Why? At once, all these dictators were in league with them destroying us. They didn't know that payback would come around. They thought they would just be able to rule in their empires forever. But what happened? They linked into the great whore. Now she's coming for her payment. Taking them all down one at a time now. Read.
Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication.
Go ahead.
And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
And all the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk. And you know what she abused more so than anything? You know what her religion is? Money. It doesn't matter what you believe. Everyone do the same thing with money. You spend it. You all believe in that. And you notice on your dollar bill, in God we trust. But what God? Not the God of the Hebrews. Satan. So you all got in bed for your religion of money. Your conquest to prey on God's people who are enslaved throughout the four corners of the earth. You all got in bed for that dollar. And you notice the oil, the blood, the black gold of this world that energized this whole world is traded on what? The petrodollar, the American dollar. So you all came together under this one world religion, chasing money. Read.
Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy.
And it's called scarlet-colored beast because this beast is red. It's talking about the 10 horns. It's talking about Rome. And it's funny, let me tell you. And the Roman Catholics don't even hide this. They actually dress themselves up exactly how the Bible describes them. You got your cardinals, and they sit there with all red on. Then you have another faction sitting there with purple on. You got your pope sitting there holding the golden cup. So they don't hide who they are. But listen to this. That scarlet-colored beast was carried, which means she started one place and would end up someplace else. They set up all your religions to distract you and to make you think she's something else than the land you're living in. Oh, don't worry about that. That's Rome. They're bad. Follow this religion that was set up by the Roman Catholic Church. What deception. Oh, no, yeah, ancient Babylon, Babylon the Great. Oh, that's religion. That's false religion. Oh, it must be the religion you're teaching me then. I'm going to show you what Babylon is. Read on.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy. Names
of blasphemy, which means she would have an ideology that would blaspheme the Most High's word. She would teach you everything is right outside of the laws of the Most High. Oh yeah, believe in Jesus and eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster and be gay. You can be accepted by God. Total blasphemy. I mean, you have to look at the psychology of these criminals. They can go into a country, kill 1 million people, and set up an institution, set up a hospital, and then teach the children to accept their own bondage for the future. And then hold the flag that was given to you by your conquerors. I mean, when you examine this thing, I mean, Satan had to be a part of this. Read.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
The 7 heads represent the mountains of Rome. The 10 horns are the 10 European countries that were set up originally who have the power of the earth right now. America no longer have the power. Okay? You can forget about that. When those planes hit the tower, all power went to the UN. You have no constitution. They just haven't told you yet. Because they built it knowing that one day they would come back. And you notice all the diplomats and all people with finances are moving out and going into different areas. Man, even Halle Berry just moved to France. They just haven't told the poor people. They haven't told the regular people who have to live, who have to play the theater of a society that's normal. Finish reading.
Verse 4.
Go ahead.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color.
Go ahead.
And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Go ahead.
Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great.
So the Bible says this is a mystery. Now, why did the Bible in Revelations, knowing that we will be reading this in old time, at the end times, why would it tell us it's a mystery? That means she would exist, but no one would be able to identify her. Or through the lies, would think she's someone else. And upon her forehead was Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. And mystery, read.
And abominations of the earth.
And abominations of the earth. Read.
Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
But we understand that this same woman will be responsible for bloodshed and war, aimed towards killing the saints of the Most High. So that gives us a target of whom they'll call terrorists. Okay? They would just set up a narrative to kill the saints through their theater. Hold it and get Jeremiah 5 and 7. And then go right back to where you were at, right?
Mm-hmm.
The water.
Jeremiah chapter 5 verse 7.
Go ahead.
How shall I pardon thee for this? Thy children have forsaken me, and sworn by them that are no gods. When I have fed them to the full, they then committed adultery, and assembled themselves by troops in the harlots' houses.
In whorehouses. So what did they do? They set up whorehouses called churches all over the earth to trap our people. And they assemble in troops in these whorehouses set up by the Roman Catholic Church. Oh, you didn't think that was in the Bible. The harlot made harlot houses. Why do you think she's called the mother of harlots? Every church that came out of her is a whore. Every church. I don't care whether or not you Mormon, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness, Baptist. Do you know Charles Taze Russell was set up by the Zionists? Do you know that the Roman Catholic Church is actually a Zionist faction where they're all one? Same religion? You say, well, hold up, the Jewish people don't believe in Christ. Exactly, neither do the Catholics. Go back.
Revelations chapter 17.
And it says they're drunken with the wine of her fornication. Let's get Isaiah, which shows you that people are drunken, but not with wine. So what are you being fed in these so-called institutions? I mean, what a play on you that you're sitting there in Sunday service to worship a Babylonian god and think it's Christ. And then feel totally comfortable in your captivity while the world is imploding. Read.
Isaiah chapter 29 verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
Stay yourselves in wonder.
Stay yourselves in wonder.
Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine.
See, these people are drunken, but not with wine. Go ahead.
They stagger, but not with strong drink.
They stagger, so it's like the Most High looking down on his people, staggering from this church to that church. this religion to that religion. And from the throne, it's looking like a drunk man that can't find his way. You just said, well, I don't like that church. I'm going to go try it over here. Well, maybe I need to try New Age, right? Or maybe, hold up. If that was a God-fearing system, why would you have a choice? You think that the creator of all will give you a choice to worship other gods? As far as setting up a system, you think in the kingdom of heaven there's going to be a mosque and the Christian church right around the corner when Christ returns? Read on.
Verse 10. For the Most High Ahijah hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
This is what happens when you drink out of that cup written up in Revelation 17. You drink and you go to sleep. You see, you're in a trance. Listen, there's power from the pulpit. The whole civil rights movement happened through the pulpit. So now your politicians come through your churches to pay your pastors for the next line of programming for the sheep. That's how it goes. It's a corporate rollout, how you're programmed to be in league with the satanic spirit of government. You're drunken not with wine. You stagger but not with strong drink. Read.
For the Most High Ahijah hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
Deep sleep.
And have closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, have he covered.
So the people the authority, the Most High covered. He made it so that they can't see, so how can they give you the light? If the blind leadeth the blind, you shall both fall in the ditch. Crystal clear. So in the end time, the authority, the people in authority would not have the answer. So you'll know who's telling the truth at the very end. Go back to Revelations. Shane, cut on that little light for me, please. Go ahead.
Revelations chapter 17, verse 6.
Go ahead.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel?
So John was marveling at this vision. He says, so the angel came and says, why are you marveling at this? He was amazed at this. Read.
I will tell thee the mystery of the woman.
I will give you the mystery of the woman.
And of the beast that carrieth her.
That proves that the beast is not a man. It's an empire. But it's a mystery. So now the angel will break down this mystery. Read.
I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Verse 8. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
The beast that thou sawest was, and is not. That means it existed in the past, but yet it don't exist. It was. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not. That means it was before, and is not. Read.
And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Now we know that the only power that's going to ascend out of the bottomless pit links to Revelations, the 21st chapter, when Satan is released from the bottomless pit after the 1,000 years of Christ's reign. So it's speaking of Satan in his first empire way back with Babylon all the way up until its present time. Listen to this clearly. Go ahead.
And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition.
That means it shall go into perdition. That will happen when Christ returns. Read.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names are not written in the book of life.
Those that follow his religion. Read.
From the foundation of the world. When they behold the beast that
was,
and is not,
and is not,
and yet is,
and yet is. Okay? It was and is not, but yet it exists. It's a mystery. See that? But we can identify who it is. Because Satan does the same program from empire to empire. Now, America stole Roman's thunder. At one point, everyone was looking at Europe as the jewel of the earth, the power of the earth. Now this little horn comes out of nowhere and steals all the glory of Europe. Now, well, how do you think the Europeans feel? So eventually, they will implode it so that they can get their glory at the very end for 1 hour with the beast, with Satan. Let's prove that. Read.
Revelations chapter 17, verse 9.
Go ahead.
And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the whore sitteth.
There's only one place to sit on 7 mountains, and that's Rome. Go ahead.
On which the woman sitteth, excuse me.
The woman sitteth, and that's Rome. Read.
Verse 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is.
And what?
And 1 is.
And 1 is, go ahead.
And the other is not yet come.
And the other is not yet come. This is a little horn that would spring out of Rome. So during this time when John was seeing this vision, there was no such thing as America, but he did have a vision of an empire that would come out of Rome that has not yet come. So John seen America. He seen the next empire that will be great. During John's time, who was the great empire? Rome was. They exiled him to the Isle of Patmos because they couldn't stop him from teaching the word, and he was too influential. They didn't want to riot because they knew that at that time if they would have killed John, the people would have revolted. So they say, you know what? Let's just put him on an island. Now, it's internment camps now. You check in, but you don't check out. See that? See how they just changed everything around, but it's the same program. Read on.
Verse 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. He
must continue a short space to show you that America's empire would become great in shorter time than all the other empires. So the only way that could happen is through what? Technology. You would think how great America is that it would have taken thousands of years for it to become this great. But no, not if you have all the ingenuity and technology and know-how and history of all the empires that preceded it. America is like Satan's Mozart. It's his greatest empire. It's his great. It's like having a great painting and say, okay, this is my Mona Lisa. That's what America is to Satan. It's what he couldn't accomplish with all the other empires. Finish reading.
Verse 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th.
He is the 8th.
And is of the 7th.
And is of the 7 to show you he's that little horn that came out of Rome. Read.
And goeth into perdition.
And he will go into perdition. So the Revelations tell us that that place that came out of Rome will eventually be no more. And this is before the coming of Christ I'm reading. I'm going to show you. So actually it was built in prophecy to one day be in perdition. And even after she's gone, because Rome created her, Rome will still exist. See, this is how these Masons feel. If we build a construct, we can tear it down. So then you go into the mindset of, okay, well, what are they using this country for? This jewel they call America, that they made bigger and better than every empire. What are they using it for? They needed to get God's people all together, to pray all together and operate together, to build a satanic construct of ancient Babylon. The tower once more. to go into space. They built that, which was a NASA program, and it was dismantled last year. So they no longer need you. That's it. You helped them build the construct. It took time. They needed slaves for that, okay? But now that they have no use for you, they call you useless eaters. Therefore, they must go into the next phase of depopulation. Okay? Brothers and sisters, what the Most High allow us to put together today and have put together through this truth in the time that the Most High had allowed us to teach, you're not gonna get this information just in your everyday church. It's not gonna happen. Finish reading what you have here.
Revelation chapter 18, verse 10. And there are 7 kings.
No, read the 12th verse.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings.
The 10 kings, read.
Which have received power, received no kingdom as yet.
So here it is. The 10 horns that came out of Rome never got their recognition. I can go into America right now and say, well, and I can pull anyone off the corner up in the old neighborhood and say, well, who's the 3 European empires that created America? The French ain't going to get no credit. Okay? They may remember England. If you go, you have to go way into Louisiana to know anything about the French. So America then stole Europe's thunder. So it says the 10 powers, they did all this building with their secret societies, and they're not getting any credit. So now they join as the EU under the UN to say, you know what? We're taking it back. We're going to destroy this land because God's people are waking up all over here, so we got to get rid of them. And then we're going to go back and sit on our throne in Europe. That's the next phase with the UN and the EU. And with this, they have a world court. One world military under the UN. And they will disarm the whole earth. And while doing this, implode the monetary system in which no one will be able to buy or sell on this earth unless you receive the mark of the beast under Satan. The 10 horns returns. But not after they destroy the horde they created. Finish reading.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as one king, as kings, 1 hour with the beast.
That means at the last hour, upon Christ's return, they will be in power. That tells us right there in Bible prophecy that when Christ returns, America will be no more. There will be no such place as America when Christ returns. The same people who built it will tear it down. It was a plan under Satan the whole time. Read.
Verse 13. These have one mind.
These have one mind. So now the EU and UN are together with this. And they're the ones controlling Barack Obama. Okay? They done set up Barack Obama as a proxy to keep the black man still, to make you believe there's hope. When his job is to keep you still while they destroy you. He signed into government a law in which everyone must get health care. And with the health care, you receive the RFID chip. Yes. And in order to participate in this particular law, you must be current on all your vaccinations. And you cannot deal with alternative health programs. You must deal with the pharmaceutical companies that are set up under Satan to kill you. Yes, we can. There go your hope. Until this day, you still can't tell black people that Barack Obama is not the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he's being used by the UN. Now they're going to use this thing that happened with the Dark Knight movie. It ain't over. They're going to do something else big. Because you just can't take the guns from these people. You must keep on, you must do something greater than going to a movie and just set up a proxy with military to kill some people. Now some people might say, well, our military wouldn't do that. Brothers and sisters, it's not your military. It's foreign troops in the country doing that. It's mercenaries. Okay? There's no American troops in America that can do anything. The American troops are spread out thin throughout the four corners of the earth. The power is under the UN. Yeah, the 10 horns. Remember what we're reading in the Bible? It's all coming together, right? And see, that's another reason why they're trying to censor our videos and all on the internet now. Because we've been talking about this for a good while, a good moment. And now it's all coming to volition, and they don't want to give credit to some regular old Negroes just out of the ghetto someplace who was reading the Bible. Okay? Finish reading.
Verse 13. These of one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. These shall make war with the Lamb.
And they're the ones who will fight against Christ. There will be no American army fighting against Christ. It will be the UN army. Power is going back to the 10 horns. Read.
And the Lamb shall overcome them.
But Christ is going to destroy them.
For he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Go ahead.
Verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
Now, what country is made out of every nation, kindred, and tongue? And that's celebrated. All ethnicities, all cultures. Listen, read.
Verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast.
Read.
These shall hate the whore.
These shall hate the whore.
And shall make her desolate.
She's making her desolate now. Why? Imploding it through the economy, bailouts, taking all your finances, making it where you cannot eat, you can't survive. Austerity measures. They're doing it right now. Using legislation though. They shall do what?
Shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
And burn her with fire. Now you might say, well, hold up. I thought it says in Isaiah 13 that the Persians or the Iranians are going to destroy Babylon. Yeah. But guess who's going to be behind the legislation to get America to attack Iran? Yes, the EU, the UN. Israel is over there to provoke that war that will destroy America and give all power back to the UN. And all power to the EU, and the 10 horns will have their glory 1 hour with the beast. The beast returns. Finish reading.
Verse 17. For the Most High Ahiah hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will.
And he put that in their hearts to fulfill that judgment. Why? Revelation 17 tells us, Revelation 18 tell you that the sins of Babylon have reached into heaven. The prayers of the saints have went into heaven based on the evils that were created within that country. Read.
And to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, and to the words of Ahiah shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city.
That great city.
Which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
Now, even though the word America is not in the Bible, if it's not America, you tell me who it is. If it's not. Okay. That concludes the lesson on the return of the beast. So what I'll do now, we're going to save this and we'll set this up where we'll answer a few questions and turn this over to the brother and Elder Gabar in New York. So why did I put this together? Because I don't want brothers and sisters just focusing on the small narrative. They wonder, well, what's going on? Why would they go into movies and shoot things up? And they have to tear the flesh from Babylon. They must set these narratives so that they can now go against the gun-toting citizens in America who have a right to bear arms. So they're going to do this. They do this all. It's the same program that was done during the time of World War II, during Germany, during Hitler. You disarm the people, tell them it'll be a more peaceful society. You kill them with pharmaceuticals and medicine and put them in a place where they can't defend themselves, then destroy them out altogether. That's the plan. But you can't do this without an enemy. So they're creating enemies now. And what they're going to do? They're going to keep doing this over and over. These people that are in these psychiatric wards, these candidates, they take them and drug them out and use them as patsies, dress them up, shoot something up and go kill something and just have him go walk down the street someplace and just beat him up and drag him down and he'll say, yeah, I did it. It's over and over again how they do this thing. Same program. So this Batman thing is just a small prop they're using to roll out further destruction of Babylon. The 10 horns are doing this. And it's going to be more they're going to do. And don't believe the story that it's some lone gunman doing anything. It has nothing to do with a lone gunman. They're going to plaster this guy all over the news and bring out stories. This thing was written a long time ago. All right. A matter of fact, there was a circulation around May. Around May, there was a circulation on regular news, on internet news, saying that Homeland Security is preparing for a lone terrorist in theaters. You can type this in. It was in the news. They're telling you what they're going to do before they do it. The same thing they did with the Olympics, saying in the Rockefeller papers. They let you know what they're planning to do. They'll roll it out, and people are not paying attention. They went in and shot some innocent people. You know, they said, make sure you include some babies so that we can actually play on the emotions of the people and roll out this next legislation. And come to find out, the UN will be voting on gun bans of America in 2 weeks. I mean, is that a coincidence? In 2 weeks, they'll be voting. The 10 horns who's going to strip and destroy Babylon will get your vote. The guys you put in, you're their constituents. And they're going to vote, they're going to trump up this story, and those that are on the fence are now going to swing and say, you know what? We need tougher laws on this. And they made sure this guy ordered his guns. Now it's being talked about he ordered 6,000 rounds of ammunition online. So what is that going to do? It's going to switch how you purchase online now. Now you must go through some type of government screening to purchase online. They're bringing forth the Beast's program because the internet will be the commerce of trade for the world when they institute the RFID chip. So it's on every level that they're rolling this thing out with this, when you examine it. Then they made sure that he was a so-called legal gun owner. Because the argument for those who had guns was, well, it's only the criminals doing the crime, and they're not purchasing guns legally. So they made sure that this guy they programmed, they helped him become a legal gun owner. So now they can go against people, regular civilians, who have guns to protect themselves. They built you up. You see, and this is what I want to say about you guys, especially these guys in Texas and different areas who have these guns and claim that you're going to protect yourself. They only gave you guns for a period to defend you, to actually protect yourself against the slaves they let loose. Okay? That's the only reason they let you have guns, to protect yourselves from the slaves. Then they set up cops, policemen, you know, after they so-called dismantled the KKK, but they just changed their uniforms. And now that they don't need you anymore, they're going to take your guns. They've been playing this black-white paradigm for the longest so that you can fight against each other, when really they're looking to destroy the whole thing, according to Bible prophecy. And then power goes back to Europe as was intended from the beginning. They wasn't there to stay. They were there to degrade the earth, to destroy the earth, do everything that they needed to do to build their empire. All right? So according to the Bible, it's about to happen. So look for this thing to be plastered on every news program. This guy, you're going to have stories about this guy. They're going to have some fake people who used to know him. All this garbage is going to come out with this guy. All right? And they're going to roll it out. It's going to stay. And then you're going to see Barack Obama looking serious. Okay, they're probably going to put some stuff up in his eye to make his eyes red or something. He's going to come before you as if he's concerned and say, right now, he has to do something about this. And he thought hard on this. He really was torn on this legislation. But he had no choice but to side with the UN and take your guns for the safety of Americans. Watch. It's the same program over and over. All right? So, in the meantime, what we need to do is come back to the Most High, follow His law, statutes, and commandments, and come together in truth. And spread the truth to others we know. And let everyone understand that you're under attack. And if you do nothing at all, they're still coming to invade your space. Okay, they're coming in to invade your space. So I can answer questions for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I can turn it over. We're going to say a prayer, and then I can turn it over to Elder and Brother Gabar. Yes? There's questions there? Okay, one moment. Maybe this thing's broke. Okay, I'll just open up another chat here and see if I can see it. Okay, can you read some of those? Just one at a time.
Should I start with the first one?
Yeah.
Are you supposed to pray before or after a meal?
Well, there's nothing in Scripture that says to say when you should pray. I know that when it came to blessing of sacrifices, the blessings went out first. So if the blessings go out first, where the Levites had to bless the sacrifice before the sacrifice, then of course it would be before the food. All right? What's the next one? Someone asked, can I please name the 10 horns again, right? You got that one? Let me get that real quick. Let me name the 10 horns. And for those that were in the past Hebrew academies, you can read that within your document, the Beast of Daniel, so chapter 7. The 10 horns, the original 10 horns, of course they're switched through the EU now, but the original 10 horns under the European power was Luxembourg, Denmark, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, France, Great Britain, and Switzerland. Okay? What's the next one?
Do I need an elder to be baptized, and do we baptize in a river?
Yes, to both. And if they need someone to baptize them in their respective areas, if we can't get no one in their respective areas, that you would need to travel to where an elder is to be baptized. Or if an elder is in your certain area, you'll be able to go to them. And that's going to be a page on our new site, gatheringofchrist.org, that will be up almost any day, an interactive site that's going to be the best site the Most High blessed us with up until this point. So you'll be able to go there, see who's in your respective areas, and set up appointments and do whatever we need to do once the site is up. But in the meantime, send an email to gatheringas1, that's the number 1 at AOL.com. All right, what's the next one?
Why are some of the Indians' fashions so similar to the Assyrian god Nisroch?
Because, and that is a good question, The reason their fashion with the North American Indians war is similar to the gods of Assyria is because at one point the 10 tribes, after being taken down in 721, was under the captivity of the Assyrians, and the Hebrews' customs and their clothing influenced the empire. By the same token, look at how our people dress in America right now. And then when we start dressing up, other people take on that fashion, and other people dress like we dress. Same thing. Why do people in America now, no matter what ethnicity you have your caps turned back, or have fitties on and hoodies on and certain clothing that we put on? That's how we influence society. They look at us to see the trend, and then the fashion people start designing a fashion to, you know, that's aimed at the consumers, which are us. Same thing as Assyria. So wherever we go, we influence that society. What's the next one?
We're losing a lot of questions because they're going too fast.
Just read them in order.
All right. How long do we have before they stop traveling?
How long do we have before they stop travel? I don't think there'll ever be a time in which they completely stop travel. But I know for sure that the technology they're putting in place doesn't fare good for our people. And this is why. When I say our people, minorities. Brother Mark went into he was speaking about the technology they have now with their new scanners that scan the molecular structure of a person down to the molecule. And they're going to have it under this pre-crime rule that if you have a certain DNA in you, you will not be able to travel, claiming that you're unsafe based on a disease. You will get through your vaccine. So this is what they're doing now. They're going to shoot people with vaccines, and then when you go through the scanner, it will go off and say, well, hold up. It's not America, but other countries cannot accept someone who might spread a disease in their country. So this is the way they're going to go with it now, where they can scan you, and based on your blood or your molecular structure, they can say you're a threat to another country and you might spread a disease. What disease? The disease that they're going to force you to get through forced inoculation soon. And not only that, they're changing your DNA with this chemtrail. So you may have breathed in some type of nanotech or something already that will deter your traveling, that might show up in these scanners. Okay, so I can't say exactly when. I know the technology in place is to stop us. Okay, first of all, you got to almost go through a rape process just to get on a plane now. So I can't say exactly when, but I know everything in place. Who knows? Maybe the next false flag they do. I know what the big thing they're going to do for sure is going to shut everything down for at least 6 months. Whatever they're going to do is going to shut everything down for at least 6 months. And after that, they'll bring up the system. They'll bring back the system all ready for the mark of the beast. All right? What's the next one?
Can you tell us who are the Kurds according to the Bible?
Well, the Kurds are not spoken of in the Bible, but the majority of Kurds, there's two sides of the Kurds. I mean, the majority of the Kurds, the modern Kurds today, are part of the Khazarian Empire, Jewish powers. Okay, what's the next one?
Are the giants in Revelation Gog and Magog return of giants on earth before the return of Christ?
No. Gog and Magog, Gog and Magog is speaking of Asians. Magog is a king out of Asia. These are Japhetic people. They're from the children of Japheth. Linking into Genesis, the 10th chapter, with the table of nations. They're Asians. Next one.
The wine mentioned in Revelation 17. could also be the media and books as well?
Media and books are all part of the religion. It's all part of the program. Also, the music. All those things encompass a religion. It's an ideology. Like, I don't care how talented you are. I'm talking about musicians and singers. You could be multi-talented. But if you cannot be used for their religion, their satanic cult, unless you're willing to be a part of this satanic religion and influence the world into immorality, I don't care how talented you are. I mean, the majority, look at Rihanna, she can't sing. A lot of these people out there, they're not top talent. They're not Whitney Houston. All right, now Beyonce, she got talent. But I'm just giving you an example of it's a religion. It's deeper than just your four walls. What's the next one?
Davis18 said, when I joined the event classes, the events lessons, I never received an email.
Okay, tell them to send an email, and we'll make sure they put on the list for the next advanced lesson. All right, just send an email. You will be on the one that's coming this coming week.
In Revelation 17, there are two women, correct? One that sits on the beast and one that sits on many waters.
That's the same woman. Same woman in Revelation 17. Not two women, it's the same woman. What's the next one?